movies and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular jokes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant. Barry, I'm
What
impressed
was
you got
that?
through that one. You looked on the wire for a little bit there.
What was that, Dave?
Dave
Almost
hesitated.
trying to
You
do
look like
things
you're
that
going to
you'll
lose
laugh
it.
at.
So,
I was trying not to, yes.
okay. It is amazing how
It's a thing
difficult it
now.
is to get through that opening. Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's 354 times.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. Hey, wear a mask. Still.
Like Paul Rudd says.
Register to vote
And follow through,
and vote.
because that's
Yes.
the thing.
We promise we will not get political on this show. But Jesus, we got to fix this freaking place. Anyway, today, you know what? As we wake up in the morning, at least in the East Coast here, it's freezing. I've been waking up
It
and
is
it's
freaking
been
cold. Yep.
It is cold. It's like it was summer. Now it's cold. It'll get warm again.
But it was like somebody flipped the light switch and it went from summer to winter.
Yeah, it was freezing the past 2 nights.
It feels
when you wake up
good,
in the
though.
morning.
I gotta say, it feels good.
I don't know about that. But anyway, you know what that reminds me of?
Fall
And to
television.
me, fall television.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we don't have that right now.
We do
because
not have that right now.
Refer to 1 minute ago when I said please vote. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Okay.
So what we're going to do instead is have our own little tiny version of fall preview, and you'll hear more about that in a little while. But let's go to some random. Todd,
Okay.
what do you got?
Lauren Cohan, Maggie is returning to walk. I don't give a shit, really. Okay, so this is the last season of Supergirl. So I
That's
can't.
what I had.
I can't get enthusiasm up for that. Okay, so they're going to wrap Supergirl after this season. I actually think that's great.
Thank you.
I think they
Do us a favor.
What's that?
Put us out of our misery. I say put us out of our misery.
No, I think they've done some good stuff with it. I think that some not so good stuff with it. But I think
There's
knowing
been 2 really good seasons. Unfortunately, this is season 6.
Yeah. So I think knowing that they're going to go out and kind of pace themselves and kind of ease into it. And I mean, God, we've had an entire season of Flash where he thought he was going to die, and all we did was moan about that the entire season, only to have him not die. This way, at least, like I said, if they know they're going to wrap the series up, let him go out, let him plan it, let it actually be genuine. I think
Maybe
she
we'll
should
get an Agents
I
of
think she
S.H.I.E.L.D.
should go
out
to
of
the
it.
future and hang out with Mon-El. I think that's what should happen. So then they can always bring her back and do guest appearances and stuff. But I mean, she's already ruined his marriage. But I think, I think knowing when to wrap it up is a good thing.
The fact
agree
that
with that.
that
Hopefully-
she's ruined somebody's marriage tells you the show's gone on too long. Because that's not something that should even be in a plot line of a superhero TV show.
Oh no, it's like so you're just Barry. Let me give you catch up. Okay, so she meets Mon-El. They fall in love. Mon-El goes back to the future. Okay, never think he's going to come back to the past. Meets this woman, marries her, super hot too, and then the two of them come back to the past. The woman sees that he still has feelings for Supergirl / Kara, and decides to end things because she can't live with that or doesn't want to be second place or whatever. And so now Mon-El is like out on both fronts.
Let me make you a little more interested, Barry.
I was falling asleep.
I am not saying I know this exactly right, but in the real world, the girl who plays Supergirl meets this dude who plays Mon-El and divorces her husband to be with him.
Okay, you're just making it more complicated. Okay.
And the husband's the one in the very explicit naked pictures that may or may not be on the internet.
Okay.
That none of us have seen.
So, anyways, the actor who plays Mon-El is
Now, is that a little more
available
interesting?
for a return.
See, I'm
And
awake
I
now.
think that would be a good way to wrap things up myself. But, and And they should bring back the skirt outfit. Okay, so that's
They should bring back. Is it who played Lois Lane? No, not Lois Lane. Is Lois Lane in this? I can't even remember.
Yes,
no, not Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Lucy Lane. I like that. Jenna Dewan.
Yeah. Dave, what do you
She was
got?
Good. Oh, jeez. Well, I had Supergirl, but here on sad news, a guy by the name of Ron Cobb, production designer, passed away just the past couple of days. He designed on movies like Alien and Aliens and Back to the Future and a bunch of Star Wars Cantina creatures. He also designed the Nostromo and a bunch of stuff. So one of these sort of deep sci-fi production designers worked on E.T. and it was definitely worked on a lot of different things with Spielberg, and he passed away recently.
Yeah,
Huge
I've
loss.
seen a ton of outpouring on social media of people, praising him. And I'll be honest, it's a name I hadn't even heard before. But when I saw the pictures and everything, I'm like, oh yeah, he's very influential. I just wasn't aware of that name. So
I've definitely seen his name on stuff before, and I've seen some books with him and things like that. So big talent. He will be missed. Barry, what do you got?
I've got one really cool thing and one very credible story and one very not so credible story. So the very credible story is, I guess, when this show drops a few days later on September 28th, and I guess this is a remnant of COVID, but they will be putting a bunch of Galaxy's Edge exclusive items up on the internet to buy through Disney. Because I guess they've produced so much of this stuff thinking that the parks were going to be open that they've got a ton of it. So, but the really cool thing is they haven't fully announced everything that's going to be available, but some of the lightsabers will be. So, those lightsabers are so well done. I know I have one, Dave. I think actually all three of us have one.
We all have at least one, yeah.
And, but, you can only, up until now, you've only been able to get them by going to the park, which we all want to do, but we can't right now. So, that'll be really cool. Some of the exclusive ones will be there. Some of the costuming stuff that they have, some of the statues and other collectible items that are exclusive to Galaxy's Edge will be available for, it sounds like, for a limited time through Disney Shop.
So it's through their website.
Let me look. I think it's shopdisney.com is the website.
Okay.
So and it starts on the 28th. So that's cool. I'm actually looking forward to maybe picking up another lightsaber or two. And actually, what I really would like is the blade, because I didn't buy the blade for mine when I was there. So if they sell the blades,
I wouldn't mind that. Didn't they make Rey's broken lightsaber?
They did, yeah.
I wonder if they're going to sell that. That I would like.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot. I have so many of the Master Replica ones, but the one I would like to fill in with a handful of the ones I don't have. So the ones that they showed in the picture on the website was Mace Windu's lightsaber and Darth Vader's Empire Strikes Back lightsaber, but they said there would be others. So,
yeah, I read an article about that today, and sounds cool. I might.
Yeah.
And when is it? The 28th?
Starts this Monday. Yeah, this coming Monday. There was a few things that I really actually wanted, but didn't want to have to drag home on a plane, or have to ship home. So, like they actually had the set of the characters from the holodeck chess table, not holodeck, the holo chess table.
Those are in big boxes.
They're in big boxes, and I just didn't want to deal with getting them home. But like if those are up there, I might buy those too. So that's my credible story.
Wait, hang on a second.
Okay.
I was pulling a Todd and buying something while you were talking. So. Is there a list of what they're putting up or no?
They didn't have one. So I will send you the link. I found this story on geektyrant.com.
Whoa, wait a minute. What are you doing on going on Geek Tyrant?
I like that website.
That's like my go-to for random topics.
I troll that website for random topics
it's mine.
as well.
I go to the Hollywood Reporter, which is not nearly as interesting.
Okay. Yes, no. I saw the same article. By the way, both Barry and I recommend geektyrant.com. So
yeah, it's a good site.
It's a good site.
So the other thing, which is far less credible, which comes from we'vegotThiscovered.com, which is not
I saw this. It's bullshit.
Always a credible website, but they claimed today on their website that Star Trek IV is canceled, and that Paramount is reportedly no longer making Star Trek movies, period. The quote was, Paramount is no longer in the business of making Star Trek movies, claims the new report. They see it more as a television property and aren't willing to invest in the future of Star Trek movies anymore. If one of the shows on CBS takes off, that could change, but those shows aren't generating enough interest.
Everything could change.
So you obviously did not go deep enough on Geek Tyrant, because they actually have a rebuttal to that same article.
Do they?
Yes. No, Paramount Pictures has not stopped making really, people, this is the point in the show where we just read the internet to each other. But, yeah, they actually, somebody from Paramount rebuts it and says that there are still things in development.
There's supposedly four Star Trek movies in development, so...
Yep. Paramount Pictures confirmed the Screen Rant that the rumor is not true and Star Trek movies are still in development. So...
Good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I hate those nonsense websites.
I know. I like I said, I almost didn't want to report it, but I figured it was good fodder for conversation.
But it did it did get Paramount to at least go on the record. So,
which is actually a good thing. So
yeah. So if you make up enough shit, sometimes something good comes of it.
Yes. You know who's not full of crap? Fanboy Collectibles. They're awesome.
They are.
Not like whatever that website was that Barry was talking about. Up for pre-order, Hot Toys Lando. I don't think we've seen a Hot Toys Lando.
It's the first Lando. Looks good, too.
First Lando. And it is the, obviously, it's the Empire Strikes Back Lando. Well, not obviously. It could have been...
General Lando, but I'm glad it could also have been Rise of Skywalker Lando.
Yeah, could have been. But it is Empire Lando. It looks good. So check that out. Ton of diamond statues in stock of Rocket Raccoon and DC characters, all kinds of stuff. Check those out. Pops and Hot Toys and Sideshows and Kotobukias and Freddy Krueger gloves if that's what you need. Everything you want. FanboyCollectibles.com. Check them out online. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. We are going to go... So, sometimes we all watch something and then we talk about it and then give a recommendation. Well, we didn't do that this week. So, we all watched one or, in some cases, one or two or more episodes of a new series that could be in our wheelhouse, and we all didn't watch the same thing. So we're sort of going to talk about them and recommend them to each other and you. So you get 3 for the price of 1. Just like last week you got 5 for the price of 3. It's always a bargain.
We're always about a bargain here.
On the Regular Joe's podcast. And you're paying nothing for this. So it's even more of a bargain. So I guess let's go around and say what we watched, and then we'll figure out how we're going to talk about that. Todd, what did you watch?
I watched Raised by Wolves on HBO Max.
HBO Max, it's a series, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Barry?
I watched The Vow on HBO, which is a 9-part miniseries. All 9 parts are not out yet. They're releasing them once a week. And it doesn't sound like it would be in our genre, but it has people in it that are, which is what drew me to it. So,
yes. And I watched Away, that is on Netflix, I think. Yeah?
Yes.
And that is about another series. I think we've talked about this series, about the first mission to Mars. So, Barry, why don't you jump in and tell us about your slightly adjacent
sex cult film.
Sex cult show you've watched.
Yeah, so, as you guys know, I've told you multiple times over the last couple months, I've been totally diving deep into documentaries. It's just, I don't know why, but I've been watching a lot of them. And we had actually heard about this. We had heard bits and pieces of this a few years back because we heard about some kind of weird sex cult that some of the actresses from Battlestar Galactica were wrapped up in.
No judgments.
That was as much as...
No judgments, okay?
I'm just telling you what I knew 2 years ago when this news broke. We talked about it. I don't remember if we talked about it on the show or amongst ourselves, but and then I never really thought about it again until I heard that this was an entire documentary series about whatever that was. So I decided to watch the first episode.
And that, I didn't know people from Battlestar Galactica were involved. One of them has been on our show.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, and then they're also in some of the people from Smallville.
Yep, I'm gonna get to all that. So I've got some notes
go
I
ahead.
wanted
You
to
just get into this situation.
So the first so this is a documentary about a group called NXIVM, and they have a program called ESP, which stands for Executive Success Program, and it's very much like EST from the 70s and 80s. That's what they it was billed as a self-help or self-improvement program for people who wanted to live their best lives or whatever. So the first episode starts out, and it's kind of a documentary on self-empowerment and these seminars. And what I found interesting once I started watching it was this was all headquartered like 3 hours away from me and like 2 hours away from Dave in Albany, New York.
I would have
and
been up there
Saratoga,
had
New
I
York.
known.
You know, they were like right there. It was founded in the 90s by this guy named Keith Raniere, who apparently had one of the highest ever recorded IQs in an IQ test. And you can tell the guy's like super smart and super weird. And the members of this group, by the way, refer to him as Vanguard. He dictates that. They don't call him by his name, they call him Vanguard. So the first episode, you watch it and you're kind of like, oh, this is maybe not my thing, but it's a group where it looks like these people are actually like improving and feeling good about themselves. By the end of the first episode, you get the sense that it may not quite be what it seems. By the second episode, you start to see that there's definitely more to it. There's a bit of a pyramid scheme aspect to it, and maybe worse. By the third episode, you start to see how they're controlling people, and it's really more of a cult than anything. And by the fourth episode, they expose how this guy Keith has been sleeping with some of the women. There's a subgroup in there called DOS, which stands for Dominus. It's in Latin. It's Dominus Obsequious Servorum, which stands for Masters over Slave Women. And the women have to get branded, and they have to provide monthly collateral, which is essentially blackmail material, into the group, so that if they try to leave, they have something to blackmail them with. So they can't get out. They make it really hard once you're in to get out. They
So
start
you've
controlling
watched more than one
women
episode of this, apparently.
What was that?
You watched more than one episode
I
of
watched
this.
5 episodes of this.
Jeez.
I'm riveted. So yeah, so I mean, I've watched as much of it as is available right now. They're controlling what these women eat down to the calories that they eat, and when you're in this master slave program, you have to actually text your master, "May I eat 120 calories?" And you can't eat it until they respond. And you have to. It's the most fucked up thing I've seen in a long time. But the branding is really interesting. So let me talk about some of the just a lot of people in this, but the celebrities that they talk about, and some of them there's no A-level celebrities, but there's some B and C. So Allison Mack, who was on Smallville, she is one of the ringleaders of this whole sex cult thing. Kristen...
Allegedly.
No, she's been indicted.
She hasn't been convicted, though. Allegedly.
Okay, she hasn't been convicted, but... Kristen Kruick from Smallville, who I wasn't familiar with.
Wait.
Lana Lang?
This is
Come
Lana
on,
Lang.
seriously.
I never
Lana-
watched Smallville, so
Oh, my God.
I never watched
And
it.
this is the shit you
besides.
waste your time on, and you still haven't seen Smallville?
Yes. Sarah Edmondson, who was apparently on SG-1, Stargate, at some point. She's one of
Don't
the
know
people
her.
who got out and is telling this story.
Well, it's interesting. A lot of these people, and you'll go through more names, they all were recruited up in like Vancouver or wherever the hell they film all those
A lot of them were
shows.
recruited in Vancouver, and that woman Sarah that I just mentioned, she actually opened the Vancouver headquarters and ran it. She was like the top person in Vancouver recruiting people. So the other names, real quick: Nikki Klein from Battlestar Galactica, who's the one that had been on our show.
Guest of the show.
Grace Park, who apparently was in it but not all the way in it, and she got out as soon as she saw shit getting bad. Catherine Oxenberg from Dynasty,
Ooh.
her daughter, India, was
I was
sucked
gonna
up
say.
in it big time, especially in this sex cult part of it. So there's a whole element of the series of Catherine Oxenberg trying to get her daughter out of the cult. And then the other one that I thought was interesting, I don't even know their names, but the heiress to the Seagram's fortune are involved with this guy. And they've got like a couple $1 billion, and they're the ones that are funding all of the legal actions. So when somebody sues this organization, they've got the deep pockets that help defend. So it's very, very interesting.
It is amazing how cyclical these things are. Okay, because this sounds like, I mean, you can read. I read some of this stuff when I was in college about the communes in the '60s and these different cults and whatnot. I actually grew up very near one of them. The Montague Commune was one of the biggest ones in the country at one point, and yet it like about every 10 years it comes back. It seems like there's like a critical mass of people who are insecure enough, are exploitable enough, and just not knowledgeable enough of how these things work that they get sucked in, and it happens again. And it just like seems like.
Here's the weirdest part, Todd. If you just watch the first episode of this series and stop about 5 minutes before the end of the first episode, you might actually think that, wow, this organization is really helping these people.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying,
they
but
truly
the story.
portray it that
so the
way.
story of this will keep
of
anything like this from getting big for about 10 more years, and then it will not be a thing anymore, and then there'll be another one just like this.
Yeah, but I think it's that if you get in a little bit, it can help you. If you get in a lot, that's where they recruit you into the management of this thing, and it becomes more of a pyramid scheme, and you become one of the people who is bringing people in. And that's the people that are out and talking about it felt amazing amounts of guilt because they brought hundreds, and in some case thousands of people through the door into these seminars. You know, it starts out as a 5-day seminar. The first thing you go to is a 5-day seminar where they essentially start brainwashing you. But these people seem to, most of them, by the end of the first 5 days, feel really good about themselves and feel empowered and feel like, you know, hey, this is a great thing. And I think for a lot of people, it probably started out that way. Here's the other really interesting thing, and then I know we can move on because I don't want to spend too much time on this. The branding element of, like, when they pull these women into this subsect of this cult, the brand that they actually brand them with, they describe it and they draw a picture of it, and it's like a mountain peak and a line, and it's supposed to be the river and the sky and all this. When you turn it sideways, it's this guy Keith Raniere and Allison Mack's initials.
Oh, geez, really?
And it was when the woman realized that she said, holy fuck, what did I get myself into?
It wasn't when someone stuck a hot branding iron on you,
Yeah.
regardless of what's on it?
You know what? When you it might have been better for them if it was a branding iron. I think they literally drew it by hand, one line at a time.
With what? Like a
Probably a soldering iron or something.
soldering iron?
But
I could do that.
The way she describes it, like, what's so riveting about it is that she described the whole process, and the way that they like convinced her that she needed to do this, and she as a leader needed to show the other girls how it's done. She said she felt calm and peaceful and empowered by the time she was done being branded. And it wasn't until she got home and realized, oh my God, my husband's going to see this on me, that she started to think it was bad. That's
crazy.
I guess it's typical of any cult behavior and brainwashing, but
I got to say, it truly is. It's great. When I was, again, there was this big commune / cult very near us when we were a kid. When I was a kid, and there was a kid who went to school with us briefly, and we went over to quote unquote his house, which we weren't supposed to do, and it was this big old mansion that this group had bought. They took all the doors out. There was one room that was full of clothes, and it was everybody's clothes, and you just went in and picked whatever out and you wore it. And then there were women that were assigned to wash everything every day. But his mother was, I'll tell you guys afterwards, but his mother was the daughter of a very famous person. And she had basically brought him, left her husband, brought this boy, and got in a Mercedes, drove across the country, joined this cult, gave them all the money that she had access to, and lasted about 6 months there. But it was the same.
I left off one of the most important names is Bonnie Peace, who was Aunt Beru in episodes 2 and 3 of Star Wars. She's one of the people who is helping tell the story. She's one of the people that got very weirded out and left. But she met her husband.
There's a thing with these things.
Her and her husband are the ones that are telling the story.
You very often find people who are peripheral to someone who's famous or wealthy. You find like second and third generation kids, and you'll get like a C-level actor, D-level actor, whatever like this. There are always people on the periphery, okay, who are looking
Except for Scientology.
who are looking for this kind of sense of belongingness. We study this in sociology, and it's like those are the people that you can attract because they always feel on the outside looking in.
Well, and this organization was looking to start bringing in Hollywood.
Yeah.
They actually, this guy, the main guy, Mark, that's telling the story, was a filmmaker. He's a documentary filmmaker. He had a film that got nominated for an Academy Award. And these guys called him and said, hey, we're from so-and-so organization. We'd like to take a meeting with you. We think we have a cool project we could work on. And they pulled him in. And then they started pulling in other people and sort of like, again, these B and C level Hollywood people. But they were trying to legitimize by bringing in, beautiful people.
That's
but
how Scientology works with the Celebrity Center and all that stuff.
Beautiful people because this main guy Keith wanted to sleep with them all. So it's
except I don't blame Tom Cruise.
It's interesting, but it's also my one reservation I would say is they could tell the story a hell of a lot faster than they are. It didn't need to be 9 episodes.
And now it's
very
like
slow.
I said, they're into that thing, but again, it's yeah, like I said, I find it fascinating that there's always a supply of people who are ready to buy into something like this.
Yeah, and this guy just kept creating new businesses and putting more and more of his, cult people in charge of him, and it was really a very big pyramid scheme. So
yeah,
interesting.
So you're
worth watching.
Go ahead.
I'm recommending.
So it's worth watching. You're giving it a thumbs up.
I am. After everything I've just said, if it sounds interesting to you, then it's a thumbs up. If this is the kind of thing that bores you or you have no interest in, then be warned.
I think if it was just normal people, I don't think I'd be interested. For some reason, the famous people brings, especially people that we sort of know who they are, a little bit. You would. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I'll put it on the back burner, but I would check it out.
Yeah, the thing is, you've got to get through the first 2 episodes before it gets really creepy.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good to know. Okay.
So you watched Raised by Wolves.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So this is a new science fiction series. Very kind of high concept thing.
Oh boy, another one of those.
Well, Dave, you're not going to like it, but it's Ridley Scott directed the first couple episodes. There are people out there, like everything that Ridley Scott does, trying to tie it to Alien and Blade Runner. Because it's all going to be a shared universe, which I don't buy either of those two things.
And it's connected to Gladiator in real life.
So I will say the premise is very interesting. So the in order to colonize a planet, instead of putting all these people in stasis and sending them off into space, they send a very small ship that can move very, very fast, with 2 androids and a bunch of human embryos that they then raise to children and presumably adulthood, and who are then going to populate start the colony.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so it's a very different concept than that, and we find that Earth has suffered a war which very likely has eradicated Earth. They're kind of hinting at that, and there's 2 factions, and one are atheists who purely believe in science, and the other are religious based, and the religious based people show up eventually, and they have a huge space ark with a bunch of frozen people on it, and
so the whole concept on Earth is the atheist people sent the embryos and the religious people sent
the
people
frozen
in stasis.
People. Yes.
And
so, but again, it's interesting. There were some very jaw-dropping moments. It was, like I said, I'm going to keep watching it. I found it really interesting. It's not what I expected at all. One of the actors, Travis Fimmel, was Ragnar Lothbrok in Vikings, which I absolutely love, from the History Channel, and he's one of the soldiers of the kind of religious army, though not really. And so there's a kind of conflict there. I think it's going to be interesting. I do like I said that they cover a lot of ground. I mean, they cover like 12 years or 10 years something in the first episode, and it's don't take a mommy android for granted. Let's just put it that way, because there's this very nurturing android that you really feel his only purpose in life is to be, and I guess hence probably the title when you think about it. But like you see her as the nurturing one, but when the time comes, she's pretty badass, and yeah, let's say everybody underestimates her. So
how you watched one episode?
I watched one episode and about 15 minutes of the second episode, just to see tonally what it was like.
Yeah, is it on the level of Westworld confusing?
Oh,
or,
God, no, not at all. It's and I don't mean
because
high
that's the
concept
thing
like
I
that.
was
mean,
worried
there's just
about
like
it with.
a lot of they dribble out. You learn about the reality of what happened on Earth as she's teaching the children about it. Okay, and she's very selectively teaching the children about it. So you're only getting little bits here and there, and it's not till other people show up that you start to get more of it. They definitely don't spoon feed you, but they give you the story that you need to there, and you never quite know fully what you're dealing with. But like I said, it's conceptually it's very, very interesting, and I'm very intrigued by it, and I'm going to keep watching. I don't know where they're going with it, but it should be interesting. So
I'm with you, Dave. From what I had seen, I was a little worried that it was Westworld-ish in that, high concept, not very easy to understand. But from what you're saying, Todd, it might actually be something a little more up my alley.
I can say it's getting really good reviews and very high ratings generally, both from critics and viewers. And again, like I said, I will say after one episode, I am very intrigued, and I think I went in with like certain preconceptions, and it wasn't what I expected. But I'm very interested.
Because these days, Ridley Scott could be a little confusing and disappointing.
Yeah,
and I hate to say
absolutely. And it's like, but
and that's what I'm worried about.
This,
5 years ago, I would have
Scott
been like,
spawned two of my favorite stories, and I am curious to see what they do here. So,
okay.
I gotta say, HBO had gone through a bit of a doldrum, but like they're coming back so strong. I mean, Watchmen was great. Westworld is, while all of us complain about it, we're all still watching it. And now
season 3 helped. It was a little more straightforward, I thought.
The most recent season I liked.
Second one was not.
Lovecraft Country, which Todd and I are both watching, is great. This sounds like this could be potentially great.
This is really interesting, and I got to say that a lot of it's on a very barren planet, so you don't see where they spent a lot of money, but everything that you do see is very, very well done, and I'm like I said, very curious to see where they go. So the hook is definitely set.
So this
Dave?
is a recommend from you.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
For sure.
Good.
Now, Dave, tell us about Away.
So I watched Away on Netflix. Obviously, it is about the first mission to Mars, so it's slightly in the future. I mean, that in and of itself could be enough to get me interested, but I was very sort of disappointed with the first, which was on Hulu I think it's Hulu, and it totally did not do what I needed it to do. And then I think it's obviously been canceled. That was the Sean Penn first mission to Mars. This thing is sort of similar to that in that it's got more human drama than sort of sci-fi drama. It's not sci-fi or sci-fact in it, but it's a little more straightforward. I think it's almost like science fiction show mixed with like one of those network dramas where there's, like I don't want to say what's that one on NBC that everyone likes and we would never watch, where people are crying every, I don't even know what it's called, but people
This
are
Is
yelling
Us?
at their
This is us.
This Is Us, yeah. Like, I don't think it's that bad, but there's definitely some human drama. The first episode was really cool because it was literally they're ready to go to Mars. So they go to the moon. There's a whole moon base. So you definitely got a lot of, sort of nice science fact action of that stuff. Second episode, I watched, I think, 3. Second episode gets into some more dramas, interpersonal dramas. So it's got Hilary Swank in it, who I think is good. I mean, I haven't seen her in stuff in a while. I don't think she's always in our genre of stuff, but she's pretty good in it. And it's cool because it's got an international crew that's going to Mars. So there's a Russian guy, there's a Chinese woman, there's a British guy. There's a Latin American guy. There's her. She's the commander. Then there's some personal stuff she has to deal with at home. The thing is, cell phones tend to work even on your way to Mars because she's calling her kid and her husband a lot, and you'd never really have that connection. I guess maybe they've figured that out.
I have heard from somebody who watched it that there was a little bit too much family drama and not enough Mission to Mars in it. Is that a fair assessment?
That's how I would categorize it. Yeah, I wish it was more. It's funny because you could. The other thing you obviously compare it to is For All Mankind, where there was definitely family drama in that.
They balanced it well.
But
yeah,
they did balance it. But I feel like I feel like the drama with that tended to be really much more based in the whole where astronauts were going to moon, blah, blah, blah. Where this, while it's in that backdrop, it's sort of stuff that you could see. If you took out the Mars element and they were, say, doing something else as the background, you could have the same stories. It's okay. I mean,
do you remember Defying Gravity from 2009?
I remember the name, but I don't remember watching
the show. Yeah.
Yeah. This, in some ways, reminds me of that. And, they did ultimately, it was a good premise. I found it very, very interesting. But ultimately, they leaned too much into the interpersonal drama. It was all these people going into space. The lead guy was the lead from Office Space. And
oh yeah,
yep,
I remember that.
Yep.
I didn't see it though.
And I've got it somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I feel about this. I'll probably watch it. I think I'm 3 episodes in, and there's not a ton else I'm watching. So I'm hoping it gets a little more. It's Netflix, so I think there's 8 or 10 episodes. So there's not a ton of them. There's some spacewalk stuff, and the thing, there is a situation happens in the first episode that, like, there's how many crew? There's 5 crew. 2 of the people on the ship blame the captain, and the other 2 don't blame the captain. And, the 2 who do are kind of jerks to the captain when, like, I'm the captain, you're the crew, do what I tell you to do. End of story. And, there's this real curmudgeonly Russian cosmonaut guy who's a pain in the ass. But I think
pretty much to be expected.
I've seen him in Armageddon.
Yeah, exactly. I wish he was that funny, though. He's not as funny. But they tend to sort of get along due to a couple different things that happen. So we'll see. I mean, in terms of a recommend, I would say no, but I'll probably stick it out and see what happens.
Did either of you watch Space Force on Netflix, the Steve Carell show?
No.
I watched 2 episodes.
I will never watch any episodes, but
it's kind of horrible.
You can't say that and not say why.
Oh God, I read terrible reviews of it, and I think the whole idea of Space Force just kind of gives me hives to begin with. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, that's the one.
and
It's funny. Showtime's coming out with something that sounds exactly like it.
yeah.
I wonder if this is. I don't know if I'm allowed to even say this because it may be. I don't know if it's.
Mark
Let
the
me
time
see
down.
if it's actually out in the world.
Cut that out. Yeah.
Oh, I think it is. Hang on, sorry. Oh yeah, it is. It's all right. I thought it was secret still. Yeah, Moonbase 8, American comedy series starring Fred Armisen, John C. Reilly. It's on the Moonbase and it's a comedy. So it's like, here's a show on Netflix that's not even great, and you're ripping it off to make another show that's probably not even great.
Yeah, so
I watched the entire show, by the way. I watched all of
Oh,
Space
you did?
Force.
Oh, Jesus. Here's the reverse.
No,
but this
I'm
is
not
this
saying
is why
it was
Barry,
great.
but this
It
is
wasn't
why
great.
I don't watch, because I finish everything. And when so many people warn me off something, I know I shouldn't start it because
It had
I
its
will
You
moments.
finished
It
the
was bad,
seasons of
but it
all
had
the
its
CW
moments.
shows? You did. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, I'm saying I watched it just for full disclosure. I'm not saying it was good, but it was middle of lockdown, and there was literally nothing to watch, so I watched it. And I like Steve Carell. I tend to like everything he's in, and there were some moments in this that had. Yeah, there were some moments, but not enough to make it worth recommending.
Yeah.
So when has Funny in Space ever worked?
Spaceballs.
I don't like Spaceballs, personally. I don't find
What?
it funny. I think
I don't know
it's
if we can be friends
insulting
anymore.
to Star Wars. What's your take on Spaceballs, Todd?
It's mildly entertaining, but it's a straight up spoof.
Yeah. I'd rather watch Hardware Wars.
Yeah,
I don't like Spaceballs.
Hardware Wars was actually
Funny in Space. The one with Don Knotts going to the moon.
yeah. I was thinking
there-
Quark had its moments, but was very uneven.
Yeah, I know. What were they named? The
They
blonde
were
and her twin
They were
sister.
Trisha and Sybil.
I don't know that. Yeah,
Dave doesn't like
comedy
Space. I
and-
didn't know. How have I known you all this time, Dave, and not known that you didn't like Spaceballs?
I try not to say it as much as think I'm an asshole. I try not to pick on everything you like. I just don't love Spaceballs. I just I don't find it that funny. I don't
Okay.
know. There were parts of Armageddon that were funny.
Okay,
I just watched it the other day.
that's
I don't
not
think that's a
Russia.
horrible.
Okay, I mean,
I don't think it's a horrible movie. I don't think it's a good movie.
no, it's a spoof. It's a broad spoof, and it's kind of like they either connect
It's
or they
not a
don't connect.
broad.
And I think they
Armageddon
connect
is
more
a
than
broad
they miss.
spoof.
I love Armageddon.
You
No, I'm
love
talking about
Armageddon?
Spaceballs.
I love Armageddon.
I'm talking about Spaceballs. I'm saying as a spoof,
Okay, no, I get.
I think it works. It's just
I don't like spoof things.
no, you
I
don't.
guess.
And
No,
but it's also one of those things where like I could watch it once and be like, yeah, that was kind of funny.
well, so here's a broader question: are you a fan of Mel Brooks movies in general? You're gonna
Yes,
probably say no.
but
No,
that,
I'm asking Dave.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's stuff I can watch once and some enjoy, but it's not like I'll go like Young Frankenstein's on TV. I won't watch it necessarily.
You know, interesting. Now that occurs to me, most comedies I have ever seen once. I would see
There's
something
some
like that
I'll
and be
watch,
amused
I used to
by
watch
it.
Mel
and
Brooks movies like they were like
see,
on
now
repeat.
I'll be see something like that. I'll
love
be
those
amused
movies.
by it. I'll be entertained. I will never have any desire to see it again. And
I just watched Young Frankenstein the other
except
night.
Top Secret
Love that
and
movie.
probably yeah. So
I'm trying to think. I'll watch Coming to America parts of again. I think that's funny.
No.
I'll watch those Eddie Murphy movies from the 80s, Trading Places or Trading Spaces, or
No, it's Places.
one was
Spaces is a whole
designing
different
stuff,
thing.
one was
Yeah.
I'll watch that again, especially 37 minutes in with Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know if that's the time.
Thanks, Mr. Skin.
There's definitely some comedies I'll watch again.
yeah.
See, but
Even
I
more
love
once
comedies,
even more
yeah.
once you get that first forehead VCR to get rid of the scan
Yes.
lines.
Yeah. So now it's on Blu-ray. But yeah, I'm trying to think of Do I have a lot of comedies in my... I probably don't have a lot of comedies in my DVD collection, but there's definitely some.
I've got the Mel Brooks box set.
See, I love the Zucker Brother movies, and I can't...
That's like Airplane and stuff? See, I don't love those.
I like those. I like, but yeah, no, I can't think of... but it's also like, again, as we talked about when we talked about Top Secret, it was the era that I saw him in, and yeah.
Picked a bad day to stop sniffing glue, Todd.
Yeah, bad day. Yep. Stop.
I mean,
don't call me Shirley.
They're enjoyable, but I'm at the C's and I don't see a single comedy here in my list of movies.
Which is odd because you're such a funny guy.
You are. Cracks me up.
But, this is fascinating.
I was going to say the dead air is just riveting for all the people.
Ghostbusters.
Right now.
See, Ghostbusters.
It's not no.
It's not a comedy. It's
not a comedy.
That's a misnomer. A lot of people think it's a comedy.
I think it's
not
a comedy.
It has some comedic elements, but it's a horror movie.
Slash adventure.
I'd say if you have to put something first on, it's a comedy with blank. That's what I think.
And I think it's a pretty scary movie for little kids. I wouldn't let little kids watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go horror. I would say like comedy adventure maybe. Yeah, but so to that end, boy, we're going way off track here. What's Back to the Future? It's not straight. I mean, it's.
I don't think it's.
It's not.
I don't think
comedy.
it's. I don't think it's a comedy.
It's an action movie, really.
With a lot of comedy in it. I mean, it's just like I kind of put that. I put that in the same.
Oh, it's funny. This app I have that has all my movies gives it sort of defines movies. Let's see what it says about Back to the Future. Not that it's the end all be all. Doesn't say.
Again, I would put that with Ghostbusters.
What the hell?
I would put that in the same category as Ghostbusters.
I would say Ghostbusters is a comedy first, and then this. I would say something different about Back to the Future.
Okay, I'm going to go back on what I said. I will watch Groundhog Day over and over again.
I will watch Groundhog Day over and over
Ironically,
again. So there's certain
when you
ones.
think about it. It is actually ironic that we would watch Groundhog Day over and over again.
Yeah.
But
I find ones that are a little more in-depth.
That is the rare comedy where I would do that.
The spoofy kind of, and I don't think Young Frankenstein's a spoof, I would say, right?
Totally a spoof.
It's totally a spoof.
Yeah. That doesn't do it. Those movies don't do it for me.
All of his movies are.
Okay. The sight gag dependent films, like Spaceballs, like the Zucker Brothers films, those are less rewatchable, I think, than something like Young Frankenstein or something like, that are just like, boom, punchline, forget it, move on kind of thing. The like Young Frankenstein or Groundhog Day or something like that. So,
I just did the same thing you're doing, Dave. I took my movie app and I sorted by genre and I pulled up all the comedies. And
I guess I could do that.
Yeah, you totally can. I've got a ton of comedies in my collection.
I have almost no comedies.
I actually have the films that I have digital copies of, which is everything I own, sorted into folders by genre, and there might be 3 things in the comedy folder, and one of them
Swingers
people might not consider a comedy. So
I'll just run down a few of them. I'm not going to read them all, but Amazon Women on the Moon, Austin Powers trilogy, Better Off Dead, Caddyshack.
Okay, yes, again. No, you're right on all those things. Yeah.
Can't Hardly Wait, Chasing Amy. Clerks,
no,
Clerks 2, every Kevin Smith movie ever made. Deadpool, is that a comedy?
No.
No?
No.
The app thinks it is. Eddie Murphy Delirious, I actually have that on a DVD.
That is one of the funniest things you'll ever see, ever. And I thoroughly agree with that.
Yes, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Kind of a comedy, but not really. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Also, in that I put that on the category with. But again, like I said, it's not a sight gag comedy. So
maybe it's just
looking
better.
at the G's. My app thinks Ghostbusters, The Goonies, and Grease are all comedies. So you can't trust the app.
I don't believe that. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Boy.
So in retrospect, we have a recommend, and a pass.
Yeah.
In that
Mine is a
order.
recommend on a conditional basis that you're into that kind of thing, because I can't say it's for everybody.
Nothing's for everyone except for Star Wars.
Mine is that you guys got to watch at least the first 3 episodes and tell me what you think. So
I'll watch yours.
Yeah, I
and
will too.
I would watch The Vow too. I just have to figure. I'm almost done with a couple things. Okay, moving on. Let's go. What's in the box?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry, we're gonna let you go first. We should film this.
I know, but it's challenging. I'll make a video though. I will, and I'll post it. So I got a really large box delivered, and it was one of the fastest packages I ever received. I ordered it on a Friday, and it was here on Saturday, which is just pretty unheard of for something that large. But
Not from Amazon either.
not from Amazon, but it wasn't from Amazon. That's the thing. It's from a mannequin shop.
I'm saying the speed.
Oh, the
you
speed.
expect that speed from Amazon.
Yeah. So a couple months back, we talked about the prop store auction where we got the Star Trek uniforms. And Dave, a few weeks ago, you showed the shadow box you made to display yours. And I've been saying I wanted to get a mannequin, and that wasn't an easy thing to find the right kind of mannequin. And our friend Tom Spina actually gave me some advice on which one to potentially go for, because Hollywood actors and their costumes are slimmer than traditional people's clothes. So needed to find something like that. So the one I wanted finally came back in stock. I ordered it Friday. It was here Saturday. And I dressed the Star Trek uniform on it, and it fits really well. I will say I think the mannequin is probably a couple of inches taller than I would like it to be. I think he's a little tall. It fits him, but if he were a couple inches shorter, it would probably fit a little better. So I want to introduce you guys, because I've given him a name. His name is Ensign Emmanuel Quinn, or as I like to call him,
That's great.
Mannequin.
yeah,
There he is.
he looks great.
It does look good. Yeah, I think the height is mostly because he's sort of on his toes.
He is on his
Which
toes.
weird.
It's a little
I
weird.
am-
the heels don't sit down. They are raised a little bit.
I'm getting the same mannequin. I just figured out what I can move and where I could put it, and so
I am not getting a mannequin.
Yeah. Well,
I gotta
I
say,
don't
it
think
was
I'd be allowed.
for about 5 minutes as I was unpacking it. It did feel a little like, what did I get myself into? But once I got it all set up, I'm like, yeah, this is the right build. It's not too beefy of a mannequin.
It looks great on him.
Really is the right build for this type of a costume, and it it's funny because we talked about this on the air with Tom, and I've had many conversations with Tom off the air, and a typical mannequin and putting a Hollywood costume on it doesn't work because the builds just aren't right. So I really went looking for something that was slim, and these pants just fit on this mannequin. Like, these pants were not loose. I was worried that they were going to be loose. They're not loose in any way, and if
Now,
this thing had
Todd,
more of a butt, it wouldn't have fit on him.
Your costume is much bigger than that costume.
well, not much bigger, but bigger.
Only like a fat bastard could fit into your costume.
very much. I can fit in my costume.
But you're a bigger build than this mannequin.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
I may have to pad mine out a little bit.
Yours, because he looks very thin there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was
don't
actually
remember
thinking
the size.
maybe what I'll do is maybe put like
Pants difference.
like a pair of sweats on it or something like that underneath to fill it out a little bit. But
Yeah, you can try. You can definitely try. I mean, you can look for one that's slightly bigger than this, but I'd be a little concerned that it may.
no, I think
just-
I'd want. Like
It's easier to go bigger
Yeah.
than you could pad it out. Like
Yeah,
you
I'd rather,
said,
like I said, I'd
This,
rather
this
pad it
shirt,
out.
though, I will say, this shirt, the way it tapers, this is like the perfect like chest dimensions for this shirt. So.
It looks a little long.
the
or is
sleeves
it
are a
just the
little bit
camera?
long on the arms.
No. I meant just the torso. The whole shirt looks long.
Well, and honestly, I mean, you guys can't really see the feet that well, but the bottom of the pants are up a little higher off the boot than I'd like them to be. I know, Todd, you're planning on using a different kind of boot.
Yeah,
than the one that we got with the costume.
right.
And that'll hide that better. This one, the tops of the pants are probably 2 inches or an inch and a half, 2 inches higher than they should be.
I wonder if there's a way to make him stand flat-footed.
There might be. And it's funny because,
You
this
could
mannequin,
cut those legs off,
this
cut the
mannequin
feet
was
off, and just
$140 mannequin. It's super inexpensive mannequin. Shipping was expensive because it's such a big box. But the whole thing to my door was under $200. To get a custom mannequin made that is actually exactly the right height, exactly the right build, it's thousands of dollars. So, I'm very satisfied for the money I paid because, part of my going back and forth on do I get a real custom setup for this was we didn't pay that much for these costumes. They're not like a hero costume that's worth $10,000, right? They're just
Though you have Simon Pegg's
so
pants. So
I do have Simon Pegg's pants. This is true.
So,
but
let me ask you this. Is that how you're going to display it? Are you adding any accoutrement to that at all? I mean,
what I kind of like is that the hands actually screw on to the wrists.
Okay.
So they're separate. So I do think that there's an ability to either find an alternate hand or possibly have somebody take that hand and alter it so that he can hold a phaser. Because I would like to have a phaser in his hand, but I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars to have a custom mannequin
as
made.
It stands, you couldn't put a phaser in that hand?
No, there's just not enough space in... I mean, his hand is kind of like that, but there's just not enough... I'm showing you as if you listening can see. But yeah, I mean, his hand doesn't have enough space to put a phaser in. If somebody were to...
So get the Playmates one and bevel it out so that it fits in between the...
That's what I'm thinking. I think that hand could be altered. And that
I was thinking bevel out the phaser. But
I'm wondering if there are alternate hands that may screw in. I wonder if someone makes...
Or even if, you could potentially Dremel out a little bit of the hand in the inside of the fingers just to be able to get the grip of the phaser in there. And when it's in, you wouldn't see it.
What's the material like? Any give to it at all?
No give to it.
Okay. So you couldn't rigid. Ease it in or something like that a little at a time?
I don't think so. But you also, the fingers aren't gripping. So you'd probably want to have some of it reshaped to really make it look like he's holding it. And it's not just
You should poke around online or even on the
call
RFP.
Up Bob's Mannequins and say, I would like the phaser hand, please.
Exactly.
I bet there's someone who either has a file to 3D print a hand.
Yep.
Or someone makes a flexible hand that you could put on there.
And I'm sure that it's just a threaded, essentially bolt that goes in the hand. So I'm sure it's a fairly standard size. I think
is it
there's
the
some
hand
ability to
or the hand
it.
and the wrist?
I will show you the hand coming off.
You could find like a cadaver and get a real hand.
I was thinking exactly that.
I was going to say, Barry, can you get yourself closer to that? It just looks extra creepy.
Okay, Barry, you want to look up artist's model wooden hand, okay? Because like there's the wooden guy.
Yeah.
There is a artist model wooden hand that's real sized that you could paint that and make that match perfectly, and it's flexible. It's got joints in it like a regular hand.
That's not a bad idea.
I mean, look, the bottom line is it's just white. I mean,
you might have to
I did not want
might
a
have to
flesh-colored
make a little wrist filler or something. But I'm telling you, that hand is like would work perfect.
But you see, the gap there is not big enough to really put anything.
No.
And so,
no.
But
maybe a communicator.
It's most of the hand. I mean,
you could maybe put the communicator in the hand.
Yeah, that might be. The other hand is about the same size gap, so either one. But you know what? For what I paid for it, it's got a tempered glass stand and a metal rod that goes into the back of the calf. Supports it really well. So yeah, for the cost, I certainly can't complain. It's way better than anything else I might have done to display this thing. And I like what you did with yours, Dave, but I kind of wanted to show the whole costume. So
look what Todd's showing.
Oh yeah, look at that. I wonder if it's the same size.
It is 1:1 scale. So you could totally make that work.
And actually, now that I'm looking at this is just screwed in. So you could even take.
Yeah, well, I'm telling
out.
you could make this totally work, and that would be cool. And then again, you could paint it the white to match,
Yep.
And yeah.
You should dip it in that rubbery stuff I have.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Give it skin.
It's like Barry's replicant figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ensign Emmanuel is now going to be joining my collection.
Very
Right.
nice.
Todd, what's in the box?
Okay. This is something I found completely by accident. Okay. So last week I was telling Dave, we've heard many times about my robot shelf. I'm assembling a shelf full of all different like pop culture robots. And I said, I want a Maskatron. And I keep looking and I can't find one that's got good, that the clothes are good. People like to take them off for whatever reason. And so I periodically keep going back to eBay and doing a search for Maskatron. And last week while I was talking to Dave about this, I searched and I found this. And so what I'm holding up is a poster with a picture of Lee Majors and the great late John Saxon, autographed by the two of them. And so it's the $6 Million Man, and it's it says Maskatron Day of the Robot, so it's specific for that episode. And I have a certificate with it. I have pictures of the two of them signing it. They weren't together.
That's cool.
Saxon signed it from his home, and Lee Majors signed it at a show. But they matched up the ink and everything, and really, really cool. It's a little big. It's a little bigger than I have room for, but I love it. I mean,
That's cool.
John Saxon
cool.
died this year.
It's
I
very
love John Saxon.
Yeah.
The thing that, like, when I was showing this to
kitschy.
Dave, and this is the part of the mutual support group thing, Dave said, when are you going to find something with both their signatures on it? And I'm like, done. Boom, pulled the trigger. And so
John's
I got a
not
good.
going to be signing anything else, unfortunately.
I made an offer and I got a good deal on it, and yeah, and so really, really pleased with it. And so I'll post pictures of this, and yep. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So yep.
Cool.
Dave.
Okay, I have something I got from our Autograph Universe sales group. And it's things that's not on my wish list, not something I wanted, but I saw it and I'm like, gotta have it. This is a signed picture of Christopher Lambert from Highlander.
I saw that and thought that you might like that.
Oh, really? That's so
Yeah.
funny. I love Highlander. I still watch the movie. It's a little dated, but I like it. But for me, this is one of these sort of, like, you see this picture and you think Highlander because it's like a dude with a sword, and there's pictures of him when he's in the parking lot
garage.
fighting.
That's a perfect.
This is like the
that's
classic
the iconic
scene.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that was cool. It was nice. It's nice, those little surprises. I didn't pay a lot for it at all, and I actually got it from someone in France. It was here in like 6 days.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Which was crazy. Yeah.
That's because
you know, it's funny.
It's
So
being screwed with.
yeah, I guess so. You know where Christopher Lambert was born?
I do not.
Great Neck, New York.
Really?
Really?
He's French, but American born. I didn't know. I'm like, he's French, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
it's
he's-
cool that I got it from a guy. I think he lives in France.
And I'm surprised that you know that, because I know how much you hate Long Island.
No, I looked it up just now. I mean, I wouldn't have bought it had I known he was born in Great Neck. No. I mean,
Speaking of Long Island, Dave and I actually got together this past Saturday and hung out for a little while in Long Island, which was nice. It was good to see in the flesh.
yeah. We're socially distant, of course.
We were.
And wore our masks.
And we went to an old toy store, which was something we haven't done in a long time either.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, that's what's in the box. And look at the time, folks. We've been talking for an hour and 5 minutes, so I know everyone's excited about the fall TV preview. We're going to hold that until next week, so tune in next week for that. We've never done that before,
I
but
don't think we
we
have.
just don't want to make this...
It's a
It
tease.
sounds like it's a tease. So next week, looking back at the fall TV preview. But
Trust me, by next week, you won't have seen any new shows anyway, so it'll still
Yeah,
be
exactly.
relevant.
We could be talking
Exactly
fall TV
it.
preview into November. So
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to see stuff in November, to be honest with you. Barry, you had a last thought, I believe?
I do. So I know we were all fans of the Battlestar Galactica reboot, and I just read this week. Michael Hogan, who played Saul Tigh on Battlestar Galactica, apparently back in February had an accident, hit his head, didn't seek medical attention, and ended up with a massive brain bleed. He's paralyzed on one side. He's got memory loss. He's got some inability to swallow. All the Battlestar people have been online this week sort of talking about it, and there's a GoFundMe that they're trying to raise some money for him and his family. I think when I looked earlier today, they were up to $187,000 of a $300,000 goal. I know that these times are hard on everybody, so I am not, nor is our podcast asking you to go donate to this, but if you are interested in doing that, you can go find it on GoFundMe. It's hard to imagine that, celebrities from Hollywood need our help, but
yeah,
this
but
guy apparently
it's
does,
also
so.
This is a working man actor. This is a guy who's got a lot of little part. That was probably his most well-known role, but he's got a lot of little parts in a lot of different things. And he was in, I think most recently I saw him in Man in the High Castle, and but it's a tough thing for anybody.
Yeah, and it's just, it's a wake-up call that, I've heard too many stories about people that have gotten hurt or had, accidents or whatever and didn't, go seek medical attention.
Oh, especially during this time. I mean,
Yeah.
they're estimating tens of thousands of people didn't get the medical attention they needed over the last 6 months. And this is, that's very sad.
Yeah, so if you're interested and capable to help out, it's on GoFundMe. But I just thought it was worth mentioning.
There you go. So next week, fall TV preview, unless we figure out something else. No, we'll do that.
Preview from years past.
From years
and
past.
the whole idea of this basically is we were talking about the excitement that we had as kids when we get that fall preview issue, and some of the things that were borne out and some that weren't. So between now and then, think about those things that you saw in the little blurbs and TV guide. And what got you excited, and that's what we'll talk about a bit. And
we'll talk about it next week.
Maybe look at a year in particular, and
we'll do that.
Blast
and
past.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.